prison environment has been a long-standing favorite horror setting for both authors and filmmakers, but for video game developers like Surreal Software, it's relatively unexplored territory. Published by Midway, The Suffering places you in the role of a new-to-death-row inmate named Torque. It seems that he's well known in the prison circuit, but this could be the end of the line for him. His crime? Murdering his wife and his 2 kids. However, Torque has no recollection of these events, providing the slightest shadow of a doubt of his guilt. Shortly after arriving in the lockup, strange things begin to occur. The prison walls shudder and crumble, and the lights go dark as if it was struck by an earthquake. As the inmates call for help, they are one by one picked off by an unknown horror. As Torque strains to see what's happening, his vision blurs for a moment, and his cell door is torn from its hinges by a great force, leaving you free to explore. The Suffering plays a great deal like a first-person action game. The camera initially shows the action from a third-person perspective, allowing you to see Torque's mannerisms and behavior from the way he surveys the environment to the way he kicks open doors. However, at any time the perspective can be switched to a first-person view, allowing a much more detailed look at the game's rich environments. Torque will arm himself with a pretty standard fare of weapons such as pistols, machine guns, and grenades, and of course, everyone's favorite, a dirty shiv. He'll use these to fight off the horrific monsters that have invaded the prison, like the Slayers, decapitated humanoids whose limbs have been replaced with blades, and the Marksmen, lumbering beasts with rifle barrels protruding from their body. Many of the monsters you'll encounter will reflect various styles of execution, from lethal injection to the electric chair. As Torque fights more and more of this demonic horde, his insanity meter will increase. When full, he can transform into a demonic version of himself with blades and hooks for arms. In this form, his attacks are tremendously powerful, but he has to control himself. He can return to his human form at will, but staying in this form too long, until his insanity meter runs dry, will prove fatal to Torque. Beyond the tried-and-true combat action, Torque will uncover mysteries both of Abbott State Penitentiary and of his own past. Nearly all of the storytelling of the game will take place in the gameplay itself, and he'll hear radio communications to guards and watch scenes unfold via security cameras. It seems the prison itself has a checkered past, harboring not only a gruesome safety record and a high homicide rate, but on top of that, it was originally built as a POW camp in World War II. This is actually the perfect environment for Torque, as his past doesn't really paint him as a saint either. However, as you play the game, you'll determine his guilt in his crime of murdering his family. Throughout the game, you'll be haunted by visions and flashbacks of your previous deeds. Upon encountering other survivors in the prison, you're presented with a simple choice. You can opt to help them out, or you can murder them outright and take whatever provisions they might have. When you encounter them, you'll hear voices, one of your wife encouraging you towards benevolence, or one of a whispering demonic voice suggesting that they'd only hinder you.
He needs your protection.
He's a parasite.
These choices play in the story of ultimately determining Torque's guilt. In all, The Suffering combines third-person shooting action with a survival horror-style environment and a story with a bit of mystery to it. While this may not have the historical richness of a tour of Alcatraz, I hope this has been a helpful look at the sort of game you can expect from The Suffering. Be on the lookout for more information about the game as the release date draws near.